Let me ask you something. Why does focus still feel hard, even when your life looks successful on paper? Because if you're anything like the women I sit with every week, you're not lazy, you're not unfocused, and you're definitely not behind. And yet, there's this quiet thought that keeps surfacing. I feel scattered, not overwhelmed, not failing, just unsettled. I want to talk to you about why this happens and why it has nothing to do with discipline. You and I have spent January talking about strategic focus. We've talked about calendars, priorities, leadership decisions, but I want to slow this down for a moment and go deeper with you, because what if focus isn't a productivity issue at all? What if it's about doing less? About being more disciplined or managing yourself better? This year, my theme is focus, but January, this month, is about strategic focus. And that distinction matters. Strategic focus isn't about attention, it's intention paired with position. Because if you don't know your position, intention turns into effort. And effort without context is exhausting. Let me say this clearly. Focus comes from clarity. And there's one area where a lack of clarity quietly creates noise in every other part of your life. I'm talking about your personal financial position. So let me ask you this. When you think about being focused, what does that usually mean to you? Does it mean more structure, tighter boundaries, restrictions, better follow through? That's being focused. But strategic focus is different. Strategic focus means your decisions are aligned with where you're actually trying to go. It requires context. And without context, especially financial context, focus becomes effort without direction. So if focus has felt heavy for you, I want you to hear this. It's not because you lack willpower. Focus is not intensity. Focus is not productivity. Strategic focus is decision-making from context, not pressure. Let me name something I see all the time with women like you. You can be generating real revenue, leading a perfectly capable team, making meaningful impact, and still feel internally unsettled. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It means clarity is missing somewhere important. When clarity is missing, your nervous system stays alert. Maybe you're not able to go to bed at night. You're constantly thinking all the time or running scatterbrained. Again, feeling unsettled. You're always bracing, even if nothing is technically wrong or technically a problem. That's not a focus problem. That's a safety problem. And here's what I want you to know. Being busy does not mean you're misaligned. Feeling scattered doesn't mean you're failing. Most of the time, it simply means you're making too many decisions without a clear reference point. Success without clarity creates internal friction. Now, let me gently ask you something. What role does money play in all this for you? I'm going to repeat that. What role does money play in this for you? Because when you don't clearly know where you stand financially, especially personally, financially, you stay in protection mode. You hesitate, you overthink, you delay decisions, not because you're incapable, but because uncertainty creates mental noise. And when that noise is loud, your nervous system stays on, even subconsciously. Uncertainty drains that focus. You can't fully rest and you don't know where you stand. And I want to be very clear here. It isn't about having more money. It's about knowing the truth, knowing where you are so you can decide where to go next. Let me tell you something. When I went through this myself, what surprised me wasn't the numbers. It was how much mental energy I got back once everything was clear. I didn't feel more ambitious. I felt more grounded. And that's when I realized something I think every woman deserves to know. Clarity is not motivating, it's stabilizing. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like you're operating your life or owning your position? Because operators focus on tasks, owners focus on position. When you don't know your position, Financially, you stay in reaction mode. Clarity moves you from doing to deciding, and position always comes before strategy. This is where strategic focus starts to show up in real life. You stop asking, can I do this? And you start asking, does this deserve my capital, my time, my energy, my money? That's an ownership question. And you can't answer it clearly if you don't know where you stand. Operators react. Owners assess position first. Strategic focus begins when you stop asking, what's next? And start asking, where am I? In a full, honest answer, where am I? And if you need more detail, where am I today, right now? And if you're wondering whether your focus is actually strategic, I want you to consider 3 quiet questions. 1, does this move improve my position? 2, does it align with the life I'm building? Not just the business you're running, the life you're building. And 3, does it preserve my optionality? If the answer isn't clear, that's not focus, that's motion. And here's the position many women need to hear. Not every good opportunity deserves you. Let me repeat that. Not every good opportunity deserves you. Strategic focus allows you to say no without guilt, without regret, because whenever you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And that is saying yes to your strategic focus. Whenever you say no to something, you're saying yes to your strategic focus. Now, you might be thinking, isn't this just another way of boxing myself in? No. Control is not restriction. Control is optionality. It's knowing you can move even if you choose not to. Financial clarity doesn't box you in. It lets you breathe. Optionality is psychological freedom. Strategic focus expands choice. It does not limit it. So let's talk about avoidance for a moment. Because if you've been avoiding financial clarity, and I know many of you have, we think, let's just put our head down and keep working and the money will come, the numbers will be there. I just got to focus. So if you've been avoiding financial clarity, I want you to hear this with compassion. Avoidance isn't failure. It's self-protection. But protection has a cost. It costs you confidence. It costs you leverage. It costs you time. Avoidance feels neutral, but it isn't. Every delayed decision quietly drains energy. And the cost isn't punishment. The cost is delayed clarity. Think of how many times you delayed making a decision and it weighed on you. Day in, day out. I know I got to do this. I know this will be better for me if I make this decision, but you don't. It's that drain of energy. That's the cost. And it's also the delayed clarity for you to move forward. So let me ask you one question that may change everything for you. If you needed to make a major decision in the next 30 days, would you clearly know your true financial position in order to do so? Let me repeat that. If you needed to make a major decision in the next 30 days, 1 month, 30 days, would you clearly know your true financial position? This is why a personal financial statement matters so much. Not as a document, not as a requirement for a bank loan, but as clarity. It turns uncertainty into information. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't limit you. It shows you where you stand strategically, not emotionally, not aspirationally, strategically. It's a mirror, not a judgment. A personal financial statement shows position, not potential, and it stabilizes how you lead. And this is why we're having this conversation now, because next month I'm shifting from strategic focus to focused capital decisions. Before you invest, before you expand, before you leverage assets, you need strategic clarity, because growth without strategy isn't bold. It's expensive. It's costly. Here's what women say to me after they finally get clarity. They don't say, I'm richer. They say, I can finally think. That is focus. And something else changes too. You stop managing your life defensively and you start leading it intentionally. That's the difference between successful and being strategically positioned. So let me leave you with this. Focus. Real focus isn't about narrowing your life. Strategic focus is about aligning your decisions with your position. And when your money energy and leadership are aligned, focus becomes natural. It becomes second nature. And that is the foundation we're building this year. Clarity first, strategy second, everything else follows. As we move into February, we're shifting into ownership, and ownership always starts with clarity. Stay close because what we're building next is about control, confidence, and long-term leverage without pressure, hype, or overwhelm. Before we end, I want to leave you with this. If focus felt hard, if decisions have felt heavier than they should, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because clarity always comes before confidence. And strategic focus doesn't ask you to rush. It asks you to see clearly. So as you move into the next few weeks, don't ask yourself what more you should do. Ask yourself this instead. Do I actually know my position? Or am I trying to move without it? Because when you know your position, decisions get quieter, focus becomes natural, and leadership feels steadier. That's the foundation we're building this year. Clarity first, strategy second, everything else follows. Let's go. Before we wrap up, if someone in your world needs this conversation, a founder who's carrying a lot and ready for clarity, send this episode to her. These messages land deeper when we share them. And if you're in that space where you know your business can grow, you feel the potential, but the next strategic step isn't fully clear yet, let's talk. You don't need a new identity. You don't need to force a direction. You just need clarity that's aligned with your goals, your numbers, and the life you want to lead. I invite you to book a call with my team. We'll look at where you are, identify the real leverage points, and map the smartest next move, whether that's one of our free resources, a workshop, or deeper support. Clarity creates momentum. Let's get yours. Let's go. The information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. It's not financial advice. It's not investment advice. Real estate development, like any investment, carries risk. Before you make decisions, you should always consult a licensed professional, your attorney, your CPA, or your financial advisor, to name a few, to make sure you're making the right choice for your situation. I'm here to share insights and strategy, but you're responsible for your own decisions, and each situation is unique. So make sure you contact your professional team to give you your specific guidance for your specific case, as each real estate development's different and unique and has its own challenges and opportunities.